Hi guys, this is Miss Carson. I wanted to reach out and do our last First Chapter Friday of the year. The book that I chose is on the South Carolina Young Adult Book Award nominees, and it's called A Curse So Dark and Lonely. The author is Brigid Kemmerer, and this is actually a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, which is one of my favorite Disney movies. So, I'm going to go ahead and read the first chapter, read the back of the book, and then the first chapter. Fall in love, break the curse. Cursed to repeat the autumn of his 18th year, Prince Wren of Emberfall thought he could be saved easily if a girl fell for him. But that was before he turned into a vicious beast and destroyed his castle, his family, and every last shred of hope. Nothing has ever been easy for Harper. With her father long gone, her mother dying, and her brother constantly underestimating her because of her cerebral palsy, when she tries to save a stranger on the streets of Washington, D.C., she's pulled into a magical world. Break the curse, save the kingdom. Harper doesn't know where she is or what to believe. A prince? A curse? A monster? As she begins to understand what's at stake, Wren's hope comes flooding back. But powerful forces are standing against Emberfall, and it will take more than a broken curse to save Harper, Wren, and his people from utter ruin. And this is actually a New York Best Times seller. So it is written in alternating points of view between Wren and Harper. One thing that I like is it gives you, in the first page, a map of Emberfall, which gives you a little bit of understanding of the geography of the places they're talking about, which I think is helpful. Chapter 1, Wren. There is blood under my fingernails. I wonder how many of my people I've killed this time. I thrust my hands into the barrel beside the stables. The ice-cold water bites at my skin, and the blood clings. I shouldn't bother, because it will all be gone in an hour anyway, but I hate this, the blood, the not knowing. Hooves ring against the cobblestones somewhere behind me, followed by the jingle of a horse's bridle. I don't need to look. My guard commander always follows at a safe distance until the transition is complete. Guard commander. As if Gray has men left to command. As if he didn't earn the title by default. I swipe the water from my hands and turn. Gray stands a few yards back, holding the reins of Ironheart, the fastest horse in the stables. The animal is blowing hard, its chest and flanks damp with sweat, despite the early morning chill. For as long as we've been trapped here, Gray's appearance is somehow a continual surprise. He looks as young as the day he earned a position in the title of Royal Guard, his dark hair slightly unkempt, his face unlined. His uniform still fits him well, every buckle and strap perfectly arranged, every weapon shining in the near darkness. He once carried a gleam of eagerness in his eye, a spark for adventure, for challenge. That gleam has long since dark, and the only aspect of his appearance that is never remade by the curse. I wonder if my unchanged appearance startled him too. How many, I say? None. All of your people are safe this time. This time, I should be relieved. I'm not. My people will be at risk again soon enough. And the girl? Gone. As always. I look back at the blood staining my hands, and a familiar tightness wraps around my rib cage. I turn back to the barrel and bury my hands in the water. It's so cold it nearly steals my breath. I'm covered in blood, Commander. A lick of anger curls through my chest. I killed something. As if sensing danger, his horse stomps and dances at the edge of the reins. Gray pulls out a hand to calm the animal. Once there would always be a stable hand rushing to take his horse, especially upon hearing my tone. Once there was a castle filled with courtiers and historians and advisers who would have turned over coin for a bit of gossip about Prince Rain, heir to the throne of Emberfall. Once there was a royal family that would have frowned upon my antics. Now there is me, and there is Gray. I left a trail of human blood on the path out of the forest, he says, unaffected by my anger. He's used to this. The horse led a good chase until you fell on a herd of deer in the southernmost part of your land. We stayed well away from the villages. That explains the condition of the animal. We traveled far tonight. I'll take the horse, I say. The sun will be up soon. Gray hands fell over the reins. This final hour is always the hardest, full of regret for my failure once again. As always, I just want to get this over with. Any special requests, my lord? In the beginning, I was frivolous enough to say yes. I'd specify if blondes or brunettes, big-breasted or long legs or tiny waists. I'd wine them and woo them, and when they did not love me, another one was easily found. The first time, the curse had seemed like a game. Find me one you like, Gray, I'd said, laughing as if finding women for his prince was a privilege. Then I changed, and the monster tore through the castle, leaving a bloodbath. When the season began again, I had no family left, no servants, only 6 guardsmen, 2 of whom were badly injured. By the 3rd season, I had none. Gray was still waiting for my response. I met his eyes. No, Commander, anyone is fine, I sighed, and began leading the horse towards the stable, and then stopped in turn. Whose blood made the trail? He raises his arm and draws his sleeve back. A long knife wound still bleeds down the hand, a slow trickle of crimson. I'd ordered him to bind it, but the wound will be gone in an hour when the sun is finally up. So will the blood on my hands and the sweat on the horse's flanks. The cobblestones will be warm with early fall sunlight, and my breath will no longer fog in the early morning air. The girl will be gone. The season will begin again. I'll be newly 18 for the 327th time. So they seem like pretty short chapters. So I'm going to go ahead and read the first chapter for Harper, the alternate version. So chapter 2, Harper. Washington, D.C. is so cold it should be illegal. I pull up the hood on my sweatshirt, but the material is practically threadbare, and it doesn't do much good. I hate being out here playing lookout, but my brother has the worst end of this job, so I try not to complain. Somewhere down the street, a man shouts and a car horn blares. I bite back a shiver and suck more tightly into the shadows. I found an old tire iron near the curb earlier, and I twist my fingers against the rusted metal, but whoever it was seems far away. I glance at the timer on Jake's phone, tells me that he has another 13 minutes. 13 minutes, and he'll be done, and we can go buy a cup of coffee. We don't really have the money to spend, but Jake always needs time to unwind, and he says coffee helps. It ratchets me up so I can't sleep, which means I don't crash until 4 a.m, and then I miss school. I've missed enough days of my senior year that it probably won't matter anymore. I sure don't have any friends who will miss me. So Jake and I sit on the corner booth of the all-night diner, and his hands will tremble on the mug for a few minutes. Then he'll tell me what he had to do. It's never good. I had to threaten to break his arm. I twisted it up behind his back. I think I almost dislocated it. His kids were there. It was awful. I had to punch him, told him I was going to hit him until a tooth came loose. He found the money real quick then. This guy was a musician. I threatened to smash a finger. I didn't want to hear the ways he shakes them down for cash. My brother is tall and built like a linebacker, but he's always been gentle and soft-spoken and kind. When Mom first got sick, when Dad got involved with Lawrence and his men, Jake would look out for me. He'd let me sleep in his room and sneak me out of the house for ice cream. That was when Dad was around, when Dad was the one getting threatened by Lawrence's bill collectors, the men who'd come at my front door to reclaim the money Dad had borrowed. Now Dad is gone, and Jake's playing bill collector, just to keep them off our backs. Guilt twists my insides. If it were just me, I wouldn't let him do it, but it's not just me. It's Mom, too. Jake thinks he could do more for Lawrence, buy us more time, but that would mean actually doing the things he's only threatening to do. I mean, it would mean truly hurting people. It would break him. I can already see how even this is changing him. Sometimes I wish he'd drink a cup of coffee in silence. I told him once and he got mad. You think it's hard to listen? I have to do it. His voice was tight and hard and almost broke. You're lucky, Harper. You're lucky you just have to hear about it. Yep, I feel super lucky. But then I felt selfish because he's right. I'm not quick and I'm not strong. Playing lookout is the only way he'll let me help. So now, when he needs to talk about these near atrocities, I keep my mouth shut. I can't fight it, but I can listen. I glance at the phone. 12 minutes. If his time runs out, it means the job went bad, and I'm supposed to run, to get Mom out, to hide. We've gotten down to 3 minutes before. 2 minutes, but he always appears, breathing hard and sometimes speckled with blood. I'm not worried yet. Rust flaked under my fingertips as I twist the ice-cold tire iron in my hand. Sunrise isn't far off, but I'll probably be too frozen by then to even notice. A light feminine laugh carries in the air nearby, and I peek from the doorway. 2 people stand alone by the corner, just at the edge of the circle of light cast by the streetlight. The girl's hair shines like a shampoo commercial, swinging as she staggers a little. The bar's all closed at 3 a.m., but she clearly didn't stop. Her micro mini and open denim jacket make my sweatshirt feel like a parka. The man is more suitably dressed in dark clothes with a long coat. I'm trying to decide if he is a cop busting a hooker or a John picking up a date, when the guy turns his head. I duck back into the doorway. Her laughter rings through the street again. Either he's hilarious or this girl is hammered. The laugh cuts short with a gasp like someone yanking on a plug. I hold my breath. The silence is sudden and absolute. I can't risk looking. I can't risk not looking. Jake would be so pissed. I have one job here. I imagine him yelling, "Don't get involved, Harper. You're already vulnerable." He's right, but cerebral palsy doesn't mean my curiosity is broken. I peek out around the edge of the doorway. The blonde has collapsed in the man's arms like a marionette, her head flopping to the side. His arms is hooked under her knees, and he keeps glancing up and down the street. Jake will lose his mind if I call the cops. It's not like what he's doing is legal. If the police came around, Jake is at risk. I'm at risk. Mom's at risk. I keep staring at that waving blonde hair, at the limp arm dragging the ground. I mean, he could be a trafficker. She could be dead or close. I can't do nothing. I slip out of my sneakers so my stupid left foot won't make a dragging noise against the pavement. I can move more quickly when I want to, but quiet is tough to master. I rush forward and raise the bar. He turns at the last second, which probably saved his life. The bar comes down across his shoulders instead of his head. He grunts and stumbles forward. The girl goes sprawling onto the pavement. I raise the bar to hit him again, but the man retaliates faster than I'm ready for. He blocks my swing and drives an elbow deep into my chest, hooking my ankle with its own. I'm falling before I realize it, and my body slams into the concrete hard. He's suddenly right there, almost on top of me. I start swinging. I can't reach his head, but I catch him across the hip, then his ribs. He seizes my wrist, then smacks my arm down to the pavement. I squeal and twist away from him, but it feels like he's kneeling on my right thigh. His free arm pins my chest, and it hurts a lot. Release the weapon. He's got an accent, but I can't place it. And now that his face is on top of mine, I realize he's young. Not much older than Jake. I clench my fingers even tighter around the bar. My breath makes huge panicking clouds between us. I beat at him with my free hand, but I might as well be striking a statue. He tightens his hold on my wrist until I genuinely think the bones are rubbing together. A whimper escapes my throat, but I grip my teeth and hold on. Release it, he says again, his tone thickening with anger. Jake! I scream, hoping enough time has passed that he might be heading back. The pavement stabs daggers of ice into my back. Every muscle hurts, but I keep fighting. Jake, someone help me! I try to claw at his eyes, but the man's grip tightens in response. His gaze meets mine, and there's no hesitation there. My wrist is going to break. A siren kicks up somewhere nearby, but it'll be too late. I try to claw at his face again, but I catch his neck instead. Blood blossoms under my fingernails, and his eyes turn murderous. The sky lightens fractionally behind him, turning pink with streaks of orange. His free hand lifts, and I don't know if he's going to hit me or strangle me or break my neck. It doesn't matter. This is it. My sight will be a glorious sunrise. I'm wrong. His hand never strikes. Instead, the sky disappears altogether. Well, that sounds pretty interesting. Definitely one that I'm going to finish. I know that this year necessarily hasn't turned out the way a lot of us hoped that it would, but I commend every one of you for doing your work, emailing your teachers, and trying your best. I know this wasn't easy for any of us, and I think you all managed to wrap up the end of the year with flying colors. I know that some of you still have a few assignments left, so again, if I can help with anything, even over the summer, if you need help finding books, please reach out, shoot me an email, I'll respond back. For you seniors, it has been a pleasure having you come in the library. I will miss all of your shining faces. Come back and visit us anytime. For all of you underclassmen, I very much look forward to seeing you next year. We have a lot of new books, of course, that are going to be going up on the shelves, as well as we are going to have a new assistant next year. Miss Lucas has retired this year. If any of you think about it and want to shoot her an email, that would be phenomenal. But we've already interviewed and offered the job to our new assistant. She is extremely knowledgeable. She seems very nice. So we have a lot of new and exciting things coming to light next year, and I'm very excited. I hope you all have a great summer. try to be safe as much as possible, but at the same time, you have to live your life. So reach out if I can do anything. If not, enjoy yourselves, and I hope you'll have a good summer. Thanks, guys.